G'day legends, welcome back to Max Power Cardboard Collectibles. Hope you guys are doing well out there and welcome back to another edition of Show Us Your Tips for round 18 of the 2024 season. We are 6 weeks away from finals. That is crazy to me. I honestly feel like the season kind of just got started and then all this stuff happened and now it's almost over. Crazy times indeed. All right, look, we are going to get stuck into this shortly, but first, just want to say sorry, I didn't get a video up last weekend. There was no Show Us Your Tips for round 17. We had a bit of a shitty week, to be honest. I was made redundant. I lost my job. Good times. A friend of ours passed away, and we just decided to say stuff it, and we went down south for the week. Just went down, spent some time with some family down in Margaret River, and yeah, just sort of recharged the batteries for a bit. Got in touch with a bit of nature, went for a few nice bushwalks, enjoyed the quiet of the country in winter, and yeah, just recharged the batteries a little bit. So we're back now. Don't want to bring the mood down too much, but that's just a little snapshot as to why there was no video up last week. Anyways, we're back. We're here. It's round 18. Let's get stuck into the tips. Alright guys, well, it is good to be back in the hot seat, and we are kicking things off for round 18 on Friday night, where Collingwood are hosting the Cats at the MCG. This should be an absolute ripper of a game. Kind of hard one to pick, really. Both teams struggling. Pies trying to get back into the 8. Geelong just holding on to their spot in the 8 with other teams coming. Fortunately for them, I suppose, a lot of the teams around them are just falling down at the moment and giving up games that probably shouldn't be given up. I personally picked the Cats to be out of the 8 by now, but they've got their claws out and they just keep holding on. Look, the Pies are pretty decimated by injury at the moment, as we all probably know. Look, they should get Jamie Elliott and John Noble back this week, which will help their cause a little bit. Look, tough game to call for me. I feel like I've been tipping Collingwood a lot, and I know they've lost the last couple, and honestly, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough one to call, but we do have to make the decision. I'm going to go for a slight upset here, and I'm going to say Geelong get it done here by about around the 2-goal mark. But look, would not be surprised at all if the Pies storm home and end up winning that game. All right, moving on to the first of our 2 Saturday morning games, or Saturday early arvo, wherever you live in the country. All right, Hawthorn versus Freo down at Utah Stadium in Tassie. Now, this on paper looks like a very even matchup, and by the bell curve on Squiggle here, it seems to be pretty, people think it's going to be pretty tight, and that is definitely exactly how I'm feeling about it as well. Look, huge test for Fremantle, they have been a very good side this year so far, obviously sitting 3rd on the ladder. Freo should win, but, I think most Freo fans will be seeing this as a huge danger game for the club. Hawks were pretty disappointing last week, but have been pretty good leading up until that, in the lead up until that Geelong game, where they probably lowered their colours quite substantially there. Look, Freo, they talk about taking big scalps, and they did. They went to the SCG, they beat Sydney, they came home last week, did what they were supposed to do against Richmond. They should win this game and win it comfortably, but I've just got this feeling in the pit of my stomach that says the Hawks are going to create an upset here and have a bit of a bounce back after a really, really pretty average performance last week against the Cats, it must be said. So I'm going to lock the Hawks in here by 5 points. Now, I don't know if I'm just being contrarian because I'm a West Coast fan. This feels like it's going to be a very Freo game to lose, if that makes any sense. All right, moving on to what should be a pretty one-sided affair, as the bell curve here suggests, and that is Sydney taking on North Melbourne at the SCG on a Saturday morning. I don't think we really need to say much about this, to be honest. A, can we see the Swans losing 3 in a row? No. B, can I see them losing at home for their 3rd game in a row? No. 3, can I see them losing their 3rd game in a row at home to North Melbourne? Fuck no. Sydney by 10 goals. I think they're going to be angry, and I think they're going to want to do a number on the Roos. I think that is pretty straightforward. Can't see too many people would want to disagree with me on that one. All right, moving on to Saturday afternoon footy, and we've got the Bulldogs taking on the Blues at Marvel. This is going to be another pretty interesting game for mine. Look, the Dogs were deplorable last week against Port. One of the worst. I'd say that's probably the worst game of footy they have played all year. I'd be looking for a big bounce back here. here. I don't think they're going to be strong enough to get over the Blues. The Blues are a very good side and really should win this game pretty easily, to be honest. However, as I've found out this year, the Western Bulldogs do seem to be the most unpredictable team in the AFL when it comes to tipping. Right up there with Port Adelaide. They have been the bane of my tipping existence this year. But so, look, the Blues should win. The Blues should win, but this also kind of seems like one of those games that would just be a typical Carlton game to lose. Look, in saying that, I'm going to pretty comfortably lock in the Blues. I think they're going to get it done. I think it's going to be about 4 goals. The Blues are good. The Blues are good. I've got to stop fighting it. The Blues are a good side. Now, speaking of fighting sides that are actually good, that I did not think were going to be good, and am trying to make myself believe that they are actually good, it's the Bombers taking on Melbourne at the MCG. Home game for the D's, this one. And yeah, look, at first glance, you might think this is going to be a pretty close game, I guess. And I don't know. I personally still don't have much love for the D's this year. 2-3 in their last 5, and their 2 wins were against West Coast and North. In saying that, however, the Dons are also 2-3 in their last 5, and their 2 wins have come against West Coast, but also had a pretty good win over the Pies in there as well. Look, obviously no Gawn, no Petraka for the Ds. I'm kind of struggling to see how the Ds can sort of, break even against a pretty strong midfield there and give their forwards enough opportunity to kick a winning score here. Look, the Dons, as I've been saying for a while now, they just keep proving me wrong. And this is a golden opportunity for them to solidify their spot in the top 4. Look, I can't see them botching it from here. Surprised that most people seem to be going with the Ds here. I'm going with the Dons by about 2-3 goals. Let's lock it in. 15 points, I reckon, seems about fair for that. All right, here's another game which is, sort of in a way kind of a bit of the Who Cares Cup of this round, right? Both teams languishing down in 14th and 15th position. Both probably promised more than they've delivered on this year. The Crows especially. I had the Crows picked for a 5th to 8th place finish this year. Definitely doesn't look like that's going to happen. The Saints, I had the Saints sort of, I think I had them finishing around about this 12 to 15 range. But I still think they've been pretty disappointing, and I think they're a better team than their win-loss record suggests. Look, again, it should be a tough one. The Crows do lose Rankin and Mitchie Hinge, but maybe they might get Riley Thilthorpe back this week. Not too sure about that. He has played a couple of games in the Sandful now. Obviously, the Saints will be without Marcus Winhager for the foreseeable future, to the delight of fantasy coaches everywhere. Their main tagger will not be playing, I think, for the remainder. I think it's 4 or 5 weeks with a pretty serious hammy. So, might come back for the last round or 2, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Look, I think the home ground advantage probably gets it done for the Crows here. I think even though they've got a couple out, I just think they're going to be the better side at the Adelaide Oval, but only just. I got the Crows by 2 goals for that one. And then we're moving on to Sunday footy, and the first game of Sunday is happening at People's First Stadium, where the Gold Coast Suns are hosting the Port Adelaide pair. Look, it's a tough one. It's a conundrum. It's the Suns don't lose at home narrative versus the Port are flat track bullies narrative. This is a tough one. Port were pretty good last week, absolutely decimating the Dogs. That's right. And the Suns, not so much, losing to North at Marvel. Really tough one to call again this week. And I feel like this round is gonna ruin some tipping comps. I think there's gonna be some big jumps in rankings for people in tipping comps this weekend, because there generally seems to be about 4 genuine 50-50 matchups here. So look, this, I think, is a big chance for the Suns to grow the fuck up as a football club, to put it frank. Sorry about the language. Wasn't that great from Dimmer. Geez, I would have loved to have seen a bit of that from our now ex-coach, Adam Simpson, at the West Coast Eagles. Look, I don't know how Port are going to do travelling up to the Gold Coast. This should be an absolute ripper of a game to watch, and I'm sure all 14 fans that go to watch this in person will have a great time. I'm going to lock in the Suns here by about probably 2-3 goals again. Again, it's probably going to be a pretty popular margin, I said, this round, as there is a lot of genuine 50-50 contests to be had. That being said, I do not believe this game is going to be one of them, where we have the Giants taking on Richmond at the MCG. Again, pretty straightforward. I would have thought this one. Richmond suck, Giants by about 8 goals. Let's just lock that in. Richmond are the new West Coast. They haven't bottomed out yet, and to be honest, probably neither have we. And that brings us to the last game of the round. Well, what a tumultuous week it has been for my beloved West Coast Eagles. Adam Simpson has been shown the door in a mutual showing of the door, it must be said. Look, it sucks. I mean, it sucks, but it doesn't suck. It had to happen. Anyways, look, I've just done a whole video on the Adam Simpson situation. So if you haven't copped that yet, make sure you go and check that one out. Go through some some candidates to replace him, the top 10 candidates to replace Simo, a little bit of list management stuff, and what I would like to see happen to the lineup this weekend so we start making changes straight away. Anyway, so yeah, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's definitely worth the watch. Oh, I don't know. Look, obviously there's the narrative of the, the new coach, the new coach vibe, right? Where teams get their coach sacked and then pull out their best performance the following week. I just don't think that's going to happen this week, unfortunately. I think the level of talent between the West Coast Eagles and the Brisbane Lions, I think is there's a very, very, very sparse gap in between these two teams. And I actually think this one could get pretty ugly, to be honest. I would love to see a player-driven response here from West Coast. Look, especially from the tech senders. Let's not sugarcoat that. I think a lot of us kind of have a rough idea who those players might be by now. But look, I'd love to see the emotional nourishment that West Coast get from the fact that players need to not repent, but sort of recognize that they are also the reason why Adam Simpson is no longer the coach at West Coast. And yeah, look, I just don't really see that happening. Like I said, Brisbane are a far more talented team. They are on the march. They are currently in the 8, and I think they are going to win this game by about 10 goals. I'm sorry to my beloved West Coast Eagles, but I just do not see this one going any other way. I hope I'm wrong, and to be honest, I am going to chuck a cheeky $10 on West Coast, because I think they're paying about $6 to win this one. I might even make it a cheeky 20, not 50. That's probably getting a little carried away. Again, look, West Coast are a bit of a basket case, but we've got 6 rounds to show our supporters, our fans, and our members and sponsors what we've got and, where we see the direction of this club going over the next few years. So, anyways, that is going to do it. We're going to lock that one in. The Lions by 10 goals there. All right, legends. So that is going to wrap us up for another edition of Show Us Your Tips for round 18 of the 2024 AFL season. Thanks for tuning in again, guys. Like I said, I think this is going to be a round that separates the boys from the men, the girls from the women in a lot of tipping comps. It is, I think we're going to see some ranging here in some tipping comps, because I think there are genuinely a good 4 or 5 games that are 50-50 chances to go either way. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, if you haven't gone and checked out the video I've just put up on, the direction that I see West Coast going over the next year or so, and who I believe are the top 10 candidates to take over from our he's not dead, from our previous coach, Adam Simpson. Make sure you check that one out. Look, it's essentially just me ranting about the football club that I've grown up supporting my entire life. So, look, check it out at your leisure, and make sure you're a subscriber to the channel, like the video, get involved in the comments, all that stuff. We'll see you in the next one.